got some books. Yesterday, I went to a book festival because I saw on an Instagram ad one of the bookstores was doing they were selling books by weight. So I got 3 books, and my mom got 1 book, so it was a little over a kilo. And then we have a little blind box situation. So I'm gonna show you what I got. Truthfully, there weren't a lot of good books, but I feel like I got some good ones. I don't really know what these books are about, but that's how I go into books, just not knowing much. And I just like to be surprised, you know? First one is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. I have seen this around and I've heard it's a really good book. It's the winner of the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction 2017. Again, that doesn't really mean anything to me. So this is the story of one woman's ferocious will to escape the horrors of bondage and a shatteringly powerful meditation on history and the unfulfilled promises of the present day. So this book I saw and I snatched up really quick. It is In a Good Light by Claire Chambers. To be honest, I don't know about this book, but I have read Small Pleasures by her and I quite enjoyed that one. So I look forward to reading this. So the last book that I got is, what is this? Oh, it's a sticker. Is The Last Thing He Told Me by Laura Dave. I have seen this book around, and to be honest, I'm not really into the thriller genre these days, but I'll check it out. It sounds intriguing. Speaking of which, we have this to unwrap, so I shall do that. This is hard to do with one hand. Oh no, it's a pretty old book. It's called One Way to Venice by Jane Aiken Hodge. A desperate search for a small child in the beautiful, dangerous city of canals. Anyway, that is it for my short book haul. I just finished Time Shelter by Georgy Gospodinov. It's a very interesting book. It mainly discusses time, specifically in the past, and memories, the importance of past memories, basically, and how much that defines us all. I'm still kind of recovering. So this is about a man who founded a time clinic, and basically it's a building with different floors dedicated to each decade. So for example, this floor will be the 50s and the next will be 60s, and it's for people who suffer Alzheimer's disease so that they can have kind of some sort of familiar memories because they usually remember more about their childhood. So if they grew up in the 50s and they go to the floor that's dedicated for the 50s, then they would find it less disorienting and it's just better for their brains. But it got so successful that now cities and countries want to recreate that, and this book is mainly based in Europe. So now Europe, each country in Europe has to vote for a decade in the 20th century to go back to, and that is tricky because Europe was going through a lot in the 20th century. That's all I'm gonna say, but it does bring up a lot of kind of concepts about time and memories and how those are very two important currencies in a human's life. So if you want to check this out, it could be an interesting read. On the other hand, I've also been reading Adelaide by Genevieve Wheeler. So this is about a woman named Adelaide who's an American living in London, and she gets into a relationship with this man who is really flaky, a walking red flag basically. And before I started, I was expecting to really not like our main character because I know that she's going to do a lot of questionable things, and right off the bat I really enjoy her character. You see that she's just this girl who wants to love someone and who wants to be loved back, and she just has this misguided notion that it has to be this man, but it doesn't. As a reader, you know that, but she just gets into a lot of situations where she can't really pull herself out, and that justifies a lot of her questionable actions and why she chooses to continue this relationship. But yeah, so far I'm enjoying it. I am almost done. I'm more than halfway, and I want to finish this by like the end of today, perhaps. So yeah. I just finished Adelaide last night and I really like it. I like how it's told in a very relatable manner. I think it's easy for a book about a main character falling in love with the wrong person for readers to be like, get out of this relationship. But in this book, you can see why Adelaide chooses to be in that relationship for so long. And it's not like the guy is truly a villainous, sinister character, but it's just he's just not the right person for her. And there are moments where you are charmed by him as well. Maybe less so than Adelaide, but over the course of the book, you can see that she is finally and truly understanding and accepting that he is not the right person for her. It's very heartfelt. I love that Adelaide has such a solid group of people looking after her, and they're kind of indulging her relationship with this man, but at a certain point, they're like, okay, you need to get out of this relationship. So, yeah, I would recommend this. So, after finishing this, I started Butter by Asako Yuzuki. I figured since it's March, I should read about women in male dominated fields, which is her being accused of murdering three men after extorting their money. And I only just started, but so far I can already see the important topics that are being discussed with the double standards between men and women in Japan, because this book is a Japanese novel, and how because our murder suspect does not fit in the ideal type of a Japanese woman, she receives a lot of hate and criticism from the general public, especially from men, but also from women. A lot of confusion how a woman who looks like that was able to attract so many men and manage to take their money and kill them. So yeah, I've only read a couple chapters, but that's all I got. And I figured it is March, and I figured I should share some more books with unhinged female characters. So I have three categories. It's unhinged, female rage, and motherhood. For the unhinged category, I would recommend Yolk by Mary H.K. Choi. This is about the tumultuous state of being in your 20s when you feel like everyone is going so far and you're just stuck going in circles. And it's also about sisterly reconciliation and acceptance and understanding. And the next book is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. This is about a food critic who is also a MILF cannibal. Next, Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This is about a female photographer who takes photos of pretty men, and do they end up getting killed at the end? Last book in the unhinged category is Blue Sisters by Coco Mellers. This is about the Blue Sisters who are dealing with the grief of losing one of their sisters in their own questionable and destructive way. Next category is Female Rage. So if you want to feel even more crushed by the patriarchy, then you should read Kim Ji-young, born 1982. And this is about a woman named Kim Ji-young who is facing a lot of challenges as a Korean woman, but I think universally, if you're a woman anywhere, you can relate to her story. Next is Honor and this is about a journalist who is working on a case of a Hindi woman who married a Muslim man, and as a result of that, her husband was killed by her family, her brothers. And this is a very frustrating book to read because you just feel so angry at the injustice of the world. But it's very important to know these stories, even though it's a fictional story, but it's still important to know about them. And the last category is motherhood. So it's about books that talk about how far mothers will go for or because of their children. Um, the first one is Night Bitch and it's about a mother who recently gave birth and now she thinks she is becoming a dog. Next is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng, and this is about an Asian American girl who was found dead, and it talks about her relationship with her parents, her family, and how parenting is a challenge for both the parents and the children. The last two books have pretty similar storylines where it's about the mother finding out that their kid is accused of murdering someone. So it's about just how far they would go to defend their child. And it's Wrong Place, Wrong Time by Gillian McAllister and Mad Honey by Jodi Picoult. So yeah, those are some books that you can read during March to celebrate women's rights and women's wrongs.